We're here today for a really exciting new project.
Hey guys, I'm Dario Cotroneo from DCI Education and I'm really excited to present you our gorgeous model Jasmine. Jasmine, how are you going?
I'm great, thanks. How are you guys?
Really good. You looking forward to this?
Yeah, so excited. Can't wait.
Me too. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to go in and walk you through how to do an effective, really thorough consultation. So Jasmine is really organized. So we've got this beautiful consultation app. So what we've got here is our care form, and so what I'll get you to do is I'll get you to fill in your details, just through there, just your first name, surname. Okay, so on your care form, I've seen that you're open for suggestions today. You described your hair condition as dry. Okay, shame on you.
I know.
And what you would like us to do with your hair today, so obviously a slight change is what you're looking for. In terms of colour, permanent, semi-permanent, you're open? Great. And you normally get your hair done every 6 to 8 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Okay, so we sign that off with complete. What I'll get you to do now is show me what is the most I can cut off your hair today. So show me what's the shortest we can take your length.
Here.
Okay, so providing I don't go any shorter than that, will you be happy?
Yes.
Okay, great, awesome. And in terms of shape, are you open to having more shape in your hair?
Yeah, I'd love to have some layers, some texture, some highlights around my face as well, so to shape it more.
Great. Wow, how well rehearsed you. We didn't even talk about that. That's great. So guys, what this is all about, this is setting up an agreement framework. And for me, what's really important is to really be assertive, but not too controlling over the client, just to get information. A lot of hairdressers have said to us, clients, what if they just come in and ask you for specific requirements? Well, you've still got to have your own ideas and you've got to be suggestive. So all I'm doing here with Jasmine is simply understanding what her restrictions are. I will give you my opinion at the end of this experience. So the last question, so if you can show me what's the shortest we can put the shape in. So where would you like to see the haircut sling your face, neck or body?
I'd probably stay around my chin, so I'd have some face framing, hair instead of frame.
Okay, great. So that'd be the shortest you'd be willing to go?
Yeah.
Okay, great, good. Look how cautious you are. Okay, this is great. So one thing I'm going to do before we start, so I'm going to get you to flip your head right over.
Yeah.
Okay, so flip that forward.
Yeah.
And when I flip it back, what I want you to do is I want you to push your head into shape for me like you would in the morning styling your hair. So go for it, flip it right back. Okay, so now push it into shape how you normally would without looking in the mirror. Okay, so what I've learned from you in the way you're touching your hair is you really like your length.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what I do, guys, girls are all the same, I swear. What I love about this is that this is a great insight to get your guest understanding of what really is important for her. And you can see how Jasmine really addressed her length quite a few times. And some clients will even pull on their length, which means that they want it to grow even longer. Okay.
Yeah.
Some clients might even lift their hair up top here for volume. You can see Jasmine's more concerned about the front of her face being neat. Okay. So these are things that I do to anchor in building rapport for my client. It's really important because once you establish what you understand or interpreting, then the client starts to realize that you're present and you're really engaging them on a much deeper level. Okay, really good. Okay, so let's talk about colour.
Yeah.
Okay, so colour today, what's your dream colour?
I'd love to go a little bit lighter, just have that summer glowy look, not too bright. I don't want to go blonde, but I just want to have that sun-kissed summer vibe.
Good, very good. I'm just writing that out. Sure. And in terms of something that you want to stay away from, what's something you don't want to colour?
I don't want to go too ashy. I don't want to go too blonde. I just want that natural sun-kissed look. I don't want to go platinum or ashy at all.
Right, that's awesome. What would you like to improve in your colour?
Yeah, definitely the longevity. I don't want it to wash out within 1 to 2 washes. I'd love to have it stay put for a while and not go too brassy as well. That'd be great.
Okay, so what I've got from you is terms of colour, so dreamier colour, lighter, natural glow look with a sun-kissed sort of feel.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
And really looking at longevity in this color.
That's correct. Yeah.
All right, so this is really simple, guys. This takes 2-3 minutes in the salon to really just understand what your client understands, and for her to understand what you understand, because I like repeating back to making sure we're on the same page, let alone in the same book. Okay, so the last bit of the scope of works is to really discuss with Jasmine about her budget for today's service. Clients sometimes are really confused by that because they're like, budget? And you're like, well, I want to make sure that we're working towards your budget. If they don't, then we always quote how much the cut and color will be. So we're looking at that price there. Are you comfortable with that? Okay, you can either say the price or you can actually just point to it. And we're looking at 5 hours. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay. If your client freaks out about either one of those, you've got to then say, okay, can I ask what would you be comfortable with within your budget and how much time do we have? And then every time that moves, we have to then move what we're going to be doing, because we can't be doing a full service if we don't have the time for it. It's really simple. And so my last question before we start, for the experience today, do you want to have a conversation or do you want time out?
Actually, just a bit of a timeout. I'm a bit tired.
Yeah.
I prefer just to have a bit of me time and relax.
Wow, you're amazing. That'll really help the video.
Oh.
So-
So I can change my answer.
No, it's okay. This is gold. Actually, I want to chat. Okay, so the purpose of asking for conversation or timeout is to really establish that not everyone wants to talk, and some clients just come in for that escapism. And I love giving people the option. And some clients laugh at you, go, of course I want to chat. And you just need to understand what they understand. Okay, so lastly, what we'll do, we'll get you to sign off with your finger. Okay, so we've completed the first scope and now the second scope, stage 2. So we've understood the client's dreams, we've understood the client's fears, and most importantly, we've really established in terms of what the client's desires are for this outcome. Now, I've not at any point spoken about what I'm going to do with your hair today, okay? So that's where we come up to what we're doing now. What I'm doing here, guys, is giving the guest a preview of my aesthetic and where I want to take today. Because ultimately, by just simply moving the hair around and just seeing what's going on here, is you can actually start to give her a bit of a vibe on where you're going aesthetically to get her excited about what's happening. Now, just as a recap, your length in terms of goal was somewhere around about here. What I'd like to do with your length is take it around about sort of through there. And what I'd like to do is have it on a bit of an angle. And what that'll do is stretch your face instead of cutting it square and making the jawline wider.
Sure. Yep.
You open to that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and then there's this beautiful technique that's going to give you shoulder pads, because I feel like you need more shoulder pad here. The bigger the shoulder pad, the smaller the hips of your face. And just aerate, give you a bit of volume through here, and ultimately giving you a fake wing that sits on top.
Awesome.
Okay, and nothing happening at the back, because I actually want to preserve your colour line. So this beautiful work that Carl's going to be doing with you.
Awesome.
How does that sound?
Great.
Okay guys, so at this stage, what I'd suggest you do is take a before photo and side-on photo. So we'll take our photo. Great. Then I'll take a side-on photo. Awesome. And I'll take a back-on photo. Great. Okay guys, so we've finished our consultation. It's really comprehensive. Thanks to Timely software, we have the consultation app housed inside with our guest profile photos that we've just taken. So that's really important. So when Jasmine comes in next time, we can look back at what the conversation was, what we agreed, and most importantly, we can share her the before and after photos. And ultimately what I feel in hairdressing that's missing is accountability for not only your guest, but for you. Because ultimately at the end of this experience that we're working with Jasmine today is that we'll be at the end reading out what the brief was and did we deliver to her expectations, which I'm pretty sure we will be able to hit it out of the park.
I'm sure you guys will.
Okay, this is not rehearsed at all. Okay, so what we're ready for now is the actual beautiful haircut. Okay, so we're ready for the haircut. What we're going to do now is we're going to walk you through this really beautiful shoulder pad and wing technique combined, which I like to call a lift shape. So we're going to take our first section to behind the ear, one finger behind the ear, and then we'll clip this back, nice and clean. Now you can do this on wet or dry hair. I prefer to work on dry, and purely because you can see how the shape's settling in. And once you've established how the shape's settled in and the hair's responded, then you're absolutely in control of your haircut and your technique. So we're going to secure that on both sides, nice and clean. So what we're going to do now is take a section from about crest line to the front point, just on a curve, just in the middle there. Beautiful. And what I'm looking at is my thickness underneath, because that's ultimately what's going to be left underneath there. Okay, so with this underneath section, we're going to tuck this back really tight into our underneath and lock that away. So you can see the technique, just nice and clean, really secure that underneath. Okay, so we're going to take a middle part, half the one side. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we've divided it in half. We're now going to put our marker in. So I'm going to take a portion of hair, I'm going to work on the basis. Now our guideline restriction was here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go a little bit longer than that back here, up there. I always like this with clients, really to make sure that there's room for us to head towards instead of going too far, too quick. So we're going to lean this, take a section just through here, going to bring that down, work out round about the esophagus, pick that up, and then comb that up, and then we're going to take that off. And this is our marker. Our marker really establishes the, it's like using a pencil if you're an architect, you know, you're really just putting something in there saying, okay, round about there is where I want to aim. We'll go a little bit shorter, always pointing and always pointing up high, because the higher you hold hair, the lighter it will fall. So that's good. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to bring all of this back and we're going to cut off all that excess. So we're going to bring that up 90 degrees. And when you are pointing, it's really important that you keep those scissors as straight as possible, and you're cutting with the middle of your blade, not the tip of your blade, because I want the ends to look really lived in. Great. So once you've done one side, really age that. You're going to take a portion of your guide, going to release that down, and then you're going to do the other side. So creating a squarish shape, but just slightly really lived in. So when you would have seen me take my length up to around about esophagus, what I'm looking at is coming anywhere between here and here. The deeper I go into my hair, the higher the density removal will be, and that's what I'm aiming for here. Really important when you bring this forward, just to really make sure those two corners are taken off, because that essentially is your wing at the front. Very good. Okay, so just going to check my balance, make sure they kiss. Great. Great. So once they kiss, we're ready to take it out. When you're looking at your sectioning, not every section on both sides has to be the same. My model through here has got a slight indentation on one side versus the other. As long as you get your balance right, then that's what really matters. Okay, so we're ready for the reveal. It's super quick, this haircut, and I love super quick because that shows total confidence in your ability. First thing I often do is I'll comb it back and brush the hair out. Always use a brush, not a comb. And you can see that the blend is really quite beautiful. And then what you're gonna do is integrate everything together. Okay, so when you're revealing the wing, you can either do two things. You can grab your fingers and pull them back, like so, just in there, integrate them, and they'll sit over the top, where I like to actually encourage them to come out a lot more, and just to really work it and make it pop. So you can just see how it wants to sit up naturally. And I see a lot of hairdressers trying to use tongs and trying to create this look, but you can do it organically with shape and just getting it happening through that.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it looks really good. And what it's done is it's slimmed down your face through here.
Yeah.
So when I give you that volume through there,
Yeah.
and as you can see through here, the shoulder pads are sitting in the right points and the wing's sitting at the right points. That's such a quick and effective commercial salon-friendly technique for you to do in your salon, and it's super efficient. So again, the recap is taking a section from ear to ear, 1 finger's depth behind the ear, clipping that, taking it into a point at the front, into a wing through either corners of the crest line of the head. The lower you go with those corners, the more thickness you're going to remove. So really it's about density appropriate for your client. The trick is to keep that point really tight through the front. The tighter that point is, the less wing you're going to see. But if you want to open it up a little bit, you'll see more wing, and that's really up to you on what you want to explore. And then bringing it all back, checking your marker, where you want your belt to be in the haircut, and then aging that through. Now, one thing, a tip that I'm going to give you, every client guest coming into your salon, we do walk them through our language. And so one of the things that I would always say to my guests is, when you leave today, do you want to look pretty, natural, or do you want to look like the boss? It's really important. And if most clients say pretty and natural, you know, I had one client recently come in and say, I want to look like the boss, Dario. I was like, no problem. That means we're going to go blunter and we're going to make it look stronger. So ultimately, pretty and natural means that we're going to make it look lived in. There's no such thing as chipping. It's an old word. We've got to talk about removing density, and we're really making it look lived in and really pretty on the ends. So that's a language change that we've really got to upskill in hairdressing. But I'm really happy with this shape. It's sitting great. And as you can see, when I start moving the hair around from back here, it's got all that luscious thickness that she needs to make her feel really confident. So what I do now is going to work on the length. Once I've done the length, and then we'll finish it off, and then we're ready for color. Okay, so what I'm going to do now with Jasmine's hair, I'm just going to iron it out, just like paper, to just cross-check. But in a salon environment, this is really cool to work with her natural. I mean, I do love the ends of the hair looking like they're breathing when I'm working with someone with, you know, a little bit of natural movement in the hair. And I want to encourage that and celebrate the fact that they don't have to do too much to actually achieve an editorial do at home. I feel that sometimes we go in and we cut things too blunt, and it can make things look too brand new, and it takes a few weeks, actually 4 to 5 weeks, for the client to start feeling pretty again. But if you can give them that lived in, sort of pretty, really natural feel straight away, then they're going to come back more for it, because they want it to last and continue that feel for a lot longer. So what I do now is I'm going to iron it out so you can see the haircut, and then we're going to cross check. It's looking good. the softness in there. For me, particularly at the moment in hairdressing, is creating a really nice, a really beautiful lived-in feel, which looks really great. So you can see the shape, the actual top that we've put in there is actually falling back, and you get this fake shape sitting really quite beautiful that's sitting over the top, and there's no lines. It's a really beautiful technique to give your client a really subtle silhouette moving through there. Really lovely. You can see on this side, bouncing around, really nice. And really creating that natural movement. And that's hence why I've kept the ends quite soft, to make sure that we blend in quite beautifully through the whole look.
Right guys, I'm going to take you through the section pattern. So I'm going to start with a central part line. There's a profile section from the front hairline all the way down to the nape. Our second section is from the crown to behind the ear, classic radial section. And the same on the other side. Our next section is going to be a small triangle section just around and incorporating the crown. This is a very crucial section, working freehand depending on the hair's natural fall. So our last section is just around our fringe. With this section, it's all about finding the right amount of hair and have a nice balance for face frame, but that's looking good there. Right guys, I've finished my section pattern, so I'll give you a quick run through. We've got a small triangular section to incorporate the hair around the crown, 2 sections in the back, 1 section on each side, as well as a small triangular section incorporating the fringe. So we're ready to start. This is my mixation, so we're using the TIGI Copyright Freestyle Blonder, which is a clay-based lightener. I mixed it 1:1 with 20 volume. When you mix it up, you want it to feel and look like whipped meringue, and that's going to help you with the application during freehand balayage. We're going to trace a horizontal section, 2 to 3 inches wide. This section we're going to subdivide into 2 triangular sections, diagonally like this. We'll check for uniformity. This is going to be a lighter piece and this is going to be our natural piece. And then we'll start with application. Gently stroke it up towards the root area. We're going to apply this in a V shape. I like to use one finger to help with my blend. And make sure the lightness seamlessly blend onto your section. Once we're happy with our blending area, we can then continue with our saturation. I like to place one paper on top and the second paper. Slide your board out. And these papers are great for getting that little bit of extra incubation and helping you with the lift. We'll continue with another horizontal section. And this time we split the section diagonally up to down, making sure we got the thicker triangle on the right side and the thickness here to the left. So we're working back to back. Once I've finished 2 sections, I'm going to repeat the same on the left side. Right guys, just to revisit what we've been doing, we're taking horizontal section, splitting them in half, triangular sections, alternating left to the right, and that's going to help us create movement and texture and dimension into the head. So Jasmine's got a natural crown just up here, so I'm going to work with a lightener from that point, that point, that point, into full saturation to all the mids and ends. finish the sides, we're going to continue on the last section, which is our wings, where we're going to place 2 foils just to really kind of highlight the hairline, and then working on this kind of money piece balayage technique as well. In a single kind of blonde piece here, spreading into an A shape. The saturation is going to be around her cheekbones to really make that kind of pop.
Okay, so now we're ready to do editorial styling. So now I'm going to put a series of layering products in the hair, followed by a really cool technique to give it that really nice, chic, slightly bohemian look with lots of volume at the roots. So let's get started.
finished result. Beautiful styling, Dario. Jasmine, how do you feel?
Like $1,000,000.
Looks absolutely stunning. So just to give you a quick recap, we work with a beautiful soft face framing balayage technique. What I've done with the toning is I've added a little bit more depth root to mids. My mixation has been TIGI Copyright Color Gloss, 7/3/2 with a quarter 7/0. That's mixed 1 to 1.5 with 5 volume. And then we blended that into another gloss mixation, 9/3/2. Same mixation, 1 to 1.5 and 5 volume. The end result is absolutely stunning. Do you agree? $1 million bucks or that?
$1,000,001.
Finish Jasmine's hair. You must feel amazing. I can't wait to show you.
So excited.
Especially that before photo. It's quite a massive transformation. You would have seen me use our My Curls, which is a real beautiful, almost, if you think of it, as a modern Velcro roller. And because it's flat, it gives you more of a compressed, unique wave in the hair. Now, we wind that in as we go, we're saving time and we're utilizing our time. And ultimately, through this area through here, just a little bit of backcombing of the roots to give it that shoulder pad. And then what I've done, as soon as I finished, I've taken them out because it's the transformation we're looking for here. But if I'm looking for longevity, I could leave those micros in for about 15-20 minutes. And the tip is to leave the ends out. That's really important so that we keep that length stretched. And once I've taken out all of the micros, using some dry revitalizing shampoo to just open it up and to create this beautiful wing, really nice muscle memory, but it's got a real chicness and a realness. And my challenge to every hairdresser is if we can keep the hair looking as real and as salon friendly as possible, because I'd like our client guests to walk out feeling like she can achieve this. And that for me is the success of a salon visit, making sure that we aspire our guests to do hair at home, just almost as good as us, not quite, but ultimately giving her a chic look in a short amount of time. But I'm really, really happy with how that shape's moving in and working just in there. So Jasmine, are you ready to see your before shot?
So ready.
I feel like So you can see Carl's beautiful transformation in color.
Wow.
Okay, so get ready for it.
Wow.
That's where we started.
I look so much healthier in the second photo. So much more glowy,
Yes.
much more beachy,
Yes.
summery, and it's much more lifted as well in the second photo. I can
Yes.
see that.
Yeah, so what we wanted to achieve is more upward energy.
Yeah.
And more about framing your face.
Yeah.
There's some of the key things that we're working on today. I just love how everything just looks so natural and beautiful.
Yeah, definitely.
But again, massive transformation.
Wow.
We could spend all day just doing this and this, couldn't we?
Definitely could.
Okay. So we're going to store this in your album. So what I'm going to do, Jasmine,
Yeah.
is I'm going to bring you into our aftercare sign-off.
Sure.
And so this ultimately will sign off that we've done exactly as per we agreed today.
Yeah.
So I'll get you to just, if you're happy, yes. If not, we'll have issues.com. And then I'll get you to sign off with the email. And you can press complete. Great. Okay, so I've saved that in your file along with your photos. So next time you come in, we have it exactly where we left off and some inspiration in terms of where we can move forward.
Awesome. Can't wait for the next visit.
Me too. Okay, so we finished this beautiful transformation on Jasmine. Jasmine, how are you feeling?
Absolutely amazing.
Awesome. Your energy's been amazing. Privileged to work with today. I want to say a massive thank you to Carl from TIGI, Australia and New Zealand. Carl, you've done a beautiful job. You're a pleasure to work with. And I absolutely love what we're talking about here. It's salon friendly, salon relevant hair, and it's about inspiring our guests to come back for more. So I can't wait to show you what we've got in store for you on our next series. And until then, take care. Cheers.
As hairdressers, we all know how important it is to make our clients feel special when they leave the salon. With TIGI Copyright, we can now offer your client a fully customized experience for professional and personal perfection, available through your salon.